there's so much ownership and control of doing the same thing over and over again for so many years that it's hard to relinquish the control and let somebody else who may be able to do it better and more efficiently do it.
Hey, this is Nick Armstrong, the lead organizer of Founded in FoCo, and you are listening to the Founded in FoCo podcast. Every episode, we get to talk with an innovative mover and shaker in our own community, and today we're here with Pam. Pam, tell us about your business.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me. I am a business operations manager, and I basically work with companies to help them bridge the gap and help them scale their businesses effectively and efficiently.
Your business name is Be the Wiser. You're Pam Weiser.
I am. So my father told me when I was young that you're never going to win. Either people are going to pronounce your last name incorrectly or they're going to spell it incorrectly. And so when I created my business name, I figured the pronunciation was probably a little more important. They still spell it wrong, but
you live in the right state for it, at least, because our AG is Bill Weiser, right? So it's a good combo.
Yeah.
How did you get started in a business ops position? It's really hard, I think, to go into a business and understand all the little nuances and puzzle pieces that fall into place to make that business what it is. How do you do it?
So I started, actually, I'm still in tech. I was in the tech industry for 20 plus years. And I started out as an executive assistant to C-level executives. I did facilities management. I moved into marketing operations. I've been a business operations manager. And during COVID, so the state was locked down. And what else am I going to be doing? So I actually reached out to friends and family and said, does anybody need any assistance? Because I wanted to keep my mind going. And so I had some takers and I turned it into a side gig. And I ended up losing my job, moved back to California momentarily, which was a dumb mistake, and took my business full time in January of 2022 and came back to Colorado.
What does an average client look like for you? Is because I'm assuming that there is a lot of learning that goes into a brand new client, but what does the day-to-day look like for a bolt-on ops manager?
It's a lot of looking, listening, meeting with people, figuring out what their needs are. A lot of times when people hire me, they know that they need help, but they don't necessarily know what that means. And so when I get in and I actually assess, I realize that they actually need more help than they think they do. So it's just a lot of figuring out what works for their company the best. So help seeing how can they help implement systems and process? How can they, identify areas that they need improvement in? And so that's what they hire me to do.
There's a little bit of Wizard of Oz. Please ignore the mess behind this curtain, but just focus on this one instead.
And it's
the yellow
a mess.
brick road leads you to the correct the place that we were hoping that you would address for us.
Right.
So what are the most common issues that you encounter as a biz ops specialist?
I find that, in particular, it's that documents are in multiple different places. Salespeople are a good example of that. They see a presentation and they immediately go for the presentation, whether it's the most current one or not. When in fact, it should have been sunsetted a long time ago. So documents are everywhere. There's no organization. The naming conventions are not there. Their CRM is a mess. So I have to come in and kind of help them utilize it in the best way that they need to use it, or clean it up. I mean, the data's old or it's not complete. Those are the top two, but there's all sorts of things. I mean, I do event management and, the list goes on. I mean, standard operating procedures.
Professional herding of cats.
Pretty much.
Have you found that the loss of some of that documentation or that structural knowledge has been amplified during COVID?
I don't know that COVID made a difference. I think companies, when they move at the speed that they move, they just don't have the organization.
What is it that a small business can do to set themselves up for success?
I think there are quite a few things, actually, but it's mostly about becoming more productive. And it's about working smarter, not harder. It's about using your time and your energy efficiently. The more you produce in a shorter period of time, the more you add to your success and profits.
So when it comes to being efficient with your organizational structure, you mentioned a couple of things: naming structures, having files in a dedicated place, keeping data up to date. Is there, beyond a biz ops manager or bolt-on ops person, what can a solopreneur, what can I do? Because I'm like, maybe I have some chaos institutionally that I need to address in my own business. So what can we do have you found like a software tool that's really helpful, or are there guides out there, a book that we should be reading?
Oh, the book will take you forever. It's like too long, don't read. I would say that using a project management tool or CRM, consolidates all of your information in one place. So you have your contracts and your pipeline and your sales cycle and your contacts, everything in one place. It's easy to manage. The other thing I would say is a password manager is really advised to use. I find that a lot of clients I go into are still using Post-its with their passwords, or a list of things, a list like a Word doc or a Google Doc with their passwords. It's so unsecure. You risk, people coming in and just, hijacking your data, and you're setting yourself up for failure.
Is there one thing that you have found that is universally disastrous across, besides the sticky note Post-its with your passwords on them? Is there something that is a signal like, oh, that's where, the idea of like, oh, there's smoke, so there must be fire? So is there something like that in the ops world that you're like, this is going to be a catastrophic problem, or this is a problem, or how do you know where to look in terms of finding structural issues in small businesses?
I think a lot of it comes down to time management and delegation. And so a lot of, when it comes to solopreneurs, and I focus on solopreneurs all the way up to larger startups and, companies over 250K is really where my focus is. But I find that there's so much ownership and control of doing the same thing over and over again for so many years that it's hard to relinquish the control and let somebody else who may be able to do it better and more efficiently do it. And so it's about time management, and it's about freeing up your time to work on the larger, more important tasks versus working on the things that aren't moving your business forward. And, I find that business owners need to be in front of clients and customers, and, making planning strategies and making plans for their business and looking years ahead, and not doing the day-to-day.
What role does trust play in all of this? Because it's hard to hand over the keys to your kingdom as a solopreneur, or as an entrepreneur who's been in the trenches DIYing, and maybe has gotten one or two trusted consultants or employees that they hand things over to. How do you build that trust with a new, maybe wary CEO?
It takes time. It is not instant. But if you're hiring an expert in the field, you trust that they know, you trust that they know what they're doing. I've worked with so many entrepreneurs, and I've actually trained them to kind of, let go of the reins. It's okay. I can take it for you. And so there are little bits that they need to relinquish. It's baby steps, right? So you're not going to give the entire all the keys to the castle at once, but just little bits until they realize that you can actually do what they hired you to do. And then the trust is built.
Has there been one surprising moment from your career that just stands out as like, man, this is a story I need to share with others?
It's mostly every single kickoff call that I do where I get this like sigh of relief that Pam is here to save the day. And, and this is the reason that I do what I do. I give people back their time. I help them create work-life balance. So, a lot of these business owners are working 70 hours a week. They don't get to go out to activities with their kids. They don't have social lives because the business takes priority. And so when I can give people back that time, it makes me feel good. That's what drives me.
Where can we find out more about you and your business?
I am at Pam at bethewiser.net. That's BETHEWISER.net. I'm also on LinkedIn, Pam Weiser. That's Weiser. There's that play on my last name. And my website is bethewiser.net. I'd love to talk to any business owners or, entrepreneurs who feel like they need help with delegation and where to start. I'd be happy to, give a free discovery call and go from there.
Excellent. Well, for more great business advice from entrepreneurs like Pam, visit foundedinfoco.com and check out our dates for 2024 and come see us in person, where you can learn from experts like Pam in person at various venues throughout town. We're excited to see you there, and see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is a Founded in FoCo podcast. For more great interviews like this one, join us at foundedinfoco.com.